Hello, everybody. This is Charlie of the Then and Now podcast. Today, I'm going to be talking about Forspoken. This is a game that I've been keeping track of for like the last year or so, since footage was released at the last Game Awards. This game is very interesting to me. Obviously, me being a big Harry Potter fan, I'm a fan of all things magic. And this game is definitely all magic. This game, you're pretty much taking control of a main character who is a sorceress who uses magic to kind of combat different enemies within this world. First thing that stood out to me in this game and the demo that I played was the combat. So if you haven't picked this demo up, I highly recommend it. I kind of miss the art of demos in general. They kind of give you a taste of what you're going to get, especially in the era now where games are getting upwards of $80 now. You kind of want to get an idea of what you're going to get before you spend all that money. But getting into the combat, the first thing I can say about this combat is that it is very layered. This combat pretty much is a two-pronged thing where you have your defense on one half of the controller and your attack on the other half of the controller. You're pretty much simultaneously keeping track of your attack spells as well as your support spells. And within each of these sets of spells, you pretty much have different kits that change the entire way you go about playing your character. And the two they give you for the first game is obviously one being more fire and flame oriented and the other one being more earth oriented, where you're throwing rocks and taking advantage of plants. And that is the same case for the support as well. You have two sets for each one. So far in the early parts of this demo that I was playing, it wasn't too difficult to try to get the maneuvering and the hang of attacking, but I can definitely see if you're getting surrounded by multiple enemies and different enemy types, how it can be very difficult going forward. And that's okay, because the game's going to provide a lot of challenge, and it was very engaging. The combat was extremely engaging. I never felt bored throughout the whole time I'd be playing it, and the combat felt smooth and felt amazing. So I definitely enjoyed the experience of playing it. So obviously the traversal of this game is going to be just as beautiful as the combat. The game itself is extremely beautiful. The game has what it calls magic parkour, which for the first ability it gives you is just enhancing your feet and making you run a little bit faster, jumping a little bit higher, kind of having your thing. It's very interesting due to the fact that the parkour element was very fun for me initially, but it got kind of old very quick, only due to the fact that a lot of the land in this part of the demo is very flat and kind of open. So just running straight kind of got very old. It was kind of reminiscent to me of Marvel's Avengers in a sense, in where the characters move very well, but the landscape and the environment you're in was very open and didn't allow for a lot of verticality at all, or kind of feeling like you were just, again, parkouring around. Something similar to like a Spider-Man, where the traversal allows you to just feel like you're building up a sense of momentum and keeping that momentum while you're going around. So it kept you engaged the whole time. This, not so much for the first part, but I will always take that with a grain of salt due to the fact that I know there are going to be other areas that allow for traversal that'll probably be more elevated, like cities. As well as there are going to be different forms of parkour that you're going to get in the game. The parkour in this game, you get very high, you can get a lot of hang time. It'd be dope to be able to kind of transition into a gliding traversal to go about things. Getting into the customization, there isn't much. Obviously the main thing that you see flying around and floating around as you're playing the game would be your cloak. And that probably is meant to be the centerpiece, which the cloak and a necklace that you're going to have placed around you that you probably won't see too much from the front is going to involve stat boost. And these stat boosts are going to change the way you probably play your character all around. So I would hope for just more items that allows you to customize the way your character looked a little bit more. But I do know with certain games and certain developers, the aesthetic they want you to have at certain parts of the game is very indicative of the actual story. Example of this being the Arkham games, where you start the game with a fully made suit, and by the end of the game, your suit's deteriorated down, even though you're allowed to customize it to an extent. So that being said, I'm not super concerned about the customization, but it would be nice to have a little bit more in-depth customization to just change the way you look. Going forward, just talking about the aesthetic of the game in general, it's beautiful. Me being a Harry Potter fan, I'm always a fan of this Scandinavian, Scotland type of architecture that you have here with the open lush lands. Obviously hoping for there being like different types of lands and biomes for you to explore going forward in the game. And I can't wait to see what they do with it. Again, I'm taking everything with a grain of salt due to the fact this is a demo and they're not going to provide a lot of in-depth combat or different enemy types in the demo. They kind of just, it's meant to give you a taste of stuff. And it definitely got me hooked, got me a little taste, and I'm excited to see what comes next with this game. It's a beautiful game. It's a fun game to play. It kept my attention the whole time, and it has some sense of complexity. I would definitely recommend you to pick up this demo and just give your general thoughts on it in the comments and see if I'm full of shit or if you agree with me. Again, thank you for tuning in. This has been Charlie of the Then and Out Podcast, and we will see you guys next time. Peace.